Good morning. This is Friday, September 24th, the regular board meeting of the Clay Township Board, 7:30 in the morning at the community room. I'm calling the meeting to order, and now may we have the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first order of business is to approve the minutes from the May 18th meeting.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The action items are resolutions that we need to go over. The first one is number 20. I'm sorry. Oh, proposed budget. I went down. I'm hardly awake, to tell you the truth. And I don't drink coffee. Pardon me. Erase that from the tape, please. Public hearing is going to be for the 2022 proposed budget. And do we have any? We're opening it now at a little past 7:30. And does anyone have anything to say? Starting an open mic. We'll wait a minute. Since no one has come to the mic, we'll close the hearing for the 2022 proposed budget. Doug? We're talking about the budget now, please.
Oh, yeah, the public hearing is just for the notice, the Form 3 notice.
Okay.
That we have to send to Greenway, that
I am asleep.
try to respond if they have anything they want to say about it, they can. Our budget, the adoption is not until October 12th. Okay, so I don't need to really say anything, just that everything was put on the gateway like we were supposed to. You guys received a copy of it, and that's it. And then just this public hearing, if anybody wants to speak.
Right, okay, so we're done, okay. So now we're on to action items. Resolution number 2021-09-24-01, updated the township's assistant guidelines. Doug?
Yeah, what we do, I guess I'll turn that on, shouldn't I? What we do every year is to update our township assistance document. And what you've got in your packet is basically on rental guidelines. That changes every year, so we do that. And we let it tells you on for 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms what we will pay up to for the year. Normally, everything else kind of is the same. Any changes that we make will be presented to you guys during that year. Okay, so that's just our annual update on the township assistance guidelines.
May I have a motion to accept it?
So moved. Second.
Any questions or discussions? None? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The second resolution is number 2021-09-24-02, establishing remote meeting participation protocols.
Okay, this is something that I've been talking to Brian about since the pandemic, is make sure we have some guidelines, which is required by the state now, on having remote meetings. So I'll let his associate here answer any questions you guys may have, or if he wants to say a few things.
Sure. Doug Kowalski, filling in for Brian Bosma. Keeping it simple, it's the Doug table today.
Yeah.
As you may recall, Governor Holcomb signed an executive order declaring a health emergency during the pandemic. Part of that executive order allowed governments to meet virtually. With the expiration of that public health emergency, governments lost the ability to meet virtually. The General Assembly passed House Enrolled Act 1437, which allowed units to establish a policy for virtual meetings. So that's what this resolution does. It allows participation electronically as long as the members can attend and be observed during the meeting. It sets, so then they can count for quorum. It says that you can't attend more than 50% of the board's meetings virtually in a year. There's flexibility in that. That's not part of the statute. So if you want more or less, that's something that we could adjust down the line. And that you cannot attend more than 2 meetings electronically in a row. Any action that's a final action has to be done by roll call, and you may not participate virtually on a final action to adopt a budget. So the October meeting Doug just mentioned, initiate a referendum or establish an increase fee or a penalty, and for purposes of eminent domain. That's in section 5, the exclusions. And then there has to be a memorandum at the end of the end of the meeting, just acknowledging who participated electronically. Again, all votes have to be by roll call. Any questions?
Shouldn't I introduce it into a motion first, and then may I have a motion, please?
I motion to approve it.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
No, but Doug, I have a question tangential to this. So, and this is great, we're setting these protocols, and I don't know if this is true or not, but on the website it says the office is still closed. When is that? Can we get a timeline for reopening?
The walk-ins is, if somebody comes in, we just don't take them into our office. We'll meet in here or somewhere, but we're still not gonna meet in the office until, I can't give you a date right now. But if somebody does come in, the officer will call us, and then we will come out and meet them. Okay?
Okay.
Is there an issue?
No, I just don't, I'm in community government offices all day, every day, and we're the only one that's still closed. So,
Yeah, and we're a small office, and I can't afford to get people sick, that's for sure. I mean, there's 3 of us, and we've all had our shots and stuff, but I want to hold off a little bit longer. I mean, we've opened up the community room. The community room is now open, okay? And still, people can still come in. I have no problem with that. It's just when they come in, they ask the officer will notify us, and then we'll come out and meet them.
And that includes the board too, doesn't it?
Yeah, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
okay.
Okay?
Any further discussion? You have any? Ready? May I have a vote, please? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Update, I know this is what you're waiting for, on the Clay Township Impact Program projects. Dave Ford, Construction Owners Representative.
Dave's not here today, so the board representative, Matt Snyder, is going to fill us in on the updates, and if you have any questions. So.
Yeah, Dave, when we moved the meeting, David already
Yeah.
was flying out. Badger Field is moving right along. We don't anticipate any more changes or any more hurdles with that project. It's finally going smoothly. All of the parks projects are going very smoothly, with the exception of probably West Park is very slow moving, but it's going. Soil issues and everything else. The Monon Trail, we accepted bid packages, very stripped down bid packages, which is what we're going to put the fun stuff back in our next meeting, just because of price increases on everything. The Japanese garden will go to bid here in about 2 to 3 weeks, and it's also pretty stripped down, and we'll see what's left after that goes and see if we can do something else to enhance it.
We got the lakes dug for the garden, because I see that every day when I go to work.
Yeah, the lake, the hole is there.
Will we be able to see what's been taken out? I worked really hard with the gardens.
It's grass and a trail.
Love it, okay.
It still has the bridge that crosses it,
Yeah.
but it's just, we had to bid this way, and then we can put back in stuff as we go forward. But the projects have been bid several times, and they've been they just come in astronomically high. The pedestrian bridge, again, budget estimates are extremely high, so reworking what the purpose of that is. We had an agreement with Fishers to kind of do the other side, and they have backed out. So we're back to the drawing board on the pedestrian bridge. It will get done. It's just a slower timeline. I'm saving you guys for last because I'm trying to go through any other projects that are on the docket at the moment. Inlow Park is going, River Heritage Park is going, they're all doing fine. The roundabouts, there's just the one left here at 111th College. That's, there's just some legal things to be tidied up there before it goes. I mean, it's been bid, they'll start construction as soon as some easements are taken care of and Carmel Utilities gets out of the way. The other two are finished, the other three are finished, and according to Michael Klitzing, traffic flow in and out of the Monon Center is already a tremendous improvement. And then there's the Historical Society, which is, you know, we're still $4 million away from having a project. So that's every day, every other week, trying to find, you know, it's a shame that we had a big party and showed something that can't be afforded, but that's where we're at, trying to get to still build the building that was presented to the public. We've now got 3 different companies working on value engineering. It will get built. It's just there's no timeline. That's every budget estimate has come in ridiculously high. The Monon, the depot itself will have to be moved. That was the first time we did a soft bid. That was the big thing. There was no access to the property. Nobody wanted to bid on it. That's the update. There'll be a project. I just don't know when. You go ahead if you.
Judy Hagan, Carmel Clay resident. I guess we don't have to give our addresses anymore. So a couple of questions about the value engineering. I'm glad you brought that up because that was really what I was here to ask. So how I'm on the part of the fundraising committee and the advisory committee. Okay, Brad is on the board, and Debbie, of course, you know, is the executive director. So as a person who is going to be asking people to contribute, I have a couple of questions. So how did the project get quite as big and elaborate as it is? And what I mean by that is the rooftop garden. I've had time to, or the rooftop piece. I've had time to think about that, and that is not really the mission of the Historical Society.
No, but it's the mission of Clay Township to provide community space. Otherwise, that's what we construct in all of our buildings. There has to be a community space.
But there would be community space within the building.
It has been our experience that when we build a community space for others, it gets taken over by the occupant. So the rooftop's the only place where there won't be permanent exhibitions, where it won't be pushed out. That's non-negotiable for the township. We said that from the very beginning. We have to have that community space.
Okay, that is a bit of a hard sell, I think. So that would be a place that maybe could be value engineered out to get down to the Historical Society. And think about the public space being the little plaza that's going to go across in front of the depot, which is really excellent. If you want a public gathering space or an outdoor area kind of thing, because it's going to be very expensive to operate that. And I won't put Debbie on the spot, but you know what it's like to manage this room, which was a nightmare from day one. And so just in conversations I've had, just a couple with Debbie, I keep asking that question, who is going to manage that for you? Because that is a tricky thing to do. It is a very tricky thing to do. And it takes a lot of manpower, and it costs money. And so I guess my question is, is any use of that going to come through the township office, or is the Historical Society?
Software written for all of the community spaces to make it very user-friendly. You can go on the website, select what space you want, what add-ons you want, what you need. It'll be a very easy user interface. We're also doing that for all of the fire department rooms on a separate, same software, but separate module that they can get in to make sure that all of the meeting spaces throughout the fire department can be reserved, but it'll be whoever's occupying the building. If somebody wants to reserve the space, I mean, that's part of the agreement. We're not backing off of that. That's part of why we're spending taxpayer dollars on a building for the townships involved in this is to provide community space, because that's what we've been very good about building community spaces and then losing them. The city has. So the township builds community spaces that can actually be used by the community.
Another issue is building security anymore. You guys have it. In my day, we didn't have to have a policeman out here. City Hall, you have to sign in. Who's going to manage all that? So I just want to ask the question, and then let's have maybe a sidebar conversation about this later, because those are some places that can be value engineered out that are going to be long-term issues. And
But this was read into the bond. This has been what we were going to do from the very beginning. We're not going to undo that. This is the commitment we all made to the public, that community space on top.
And I understand that, Matt. And I know we made a commitment at the Monon Center that we were going to have a cafe too, and everybody wanted it. It was a nightmare.
Well,
and
you've
lesson
done that
learned.
after it was built. We don't
Yeah.
even have a set of plans yet.
Okay. So could you update what plans do exist? Basically, so far, just the very preliminary one that's on the board at the Historical Society. Okay. So it just seems to me there's a way to get there, and maybe some of the things need
to
to
shrink the building. The rooftop is insignificant. The way to get there is to shrink the building and do away with the basement. But the Historical Society has been adamant that that is not an option they want to entertain. So we're trying to figure out different ways.
And they're going to be the main occupant of the building,
only
or
occupant.
other? Okay.
Yours.
Okay. But that means they get stuck with operating the rooftop.
Just like the fire department gets stuck with operating the rooftop at the admin building.
The difference is the fire department has staff around all the time. So I just want to make those points, then we'll have some further conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Yes, you may. Please state your name so it was in the minutes.
Good morning. I'm Brad Sexauer. I'm a Carmel resident and a member of the board of directors of the Carmel Clay Historical Society. Matt, I just had a couple questions on your comments. You said, I believe, that we're $4 million away from having a building.
Yes.
Does that mean that the current cost estimates are $4 million over the $4.3 million that was in the bond for the building?
Yes. But be careful with 4.3, because of that, only about 3 million, 3 point something was for construction. But yeah,
Okay, so right now, total project costs are 8.3
I'm not going to use real numbers, but yes. close to
in that ballpark. So we're considerably over budget at this point. Is that a function of just ballooning construction costs in the last, year or so?
Yes. Every one of our projects has come in 20 to 40% more than what we had anticipated.
What chance do you think there is of value engineering it to where it's affordable and not having to change the scope of the project? Or is that under active consideration right now?
That's under active consideration, and I think we will get there.
Okay.
I think that we've got our owner's rep working on it. We've got an independent construction estimating firm working on it. We've got Envoy, who's the construction manager, working on it. We've got 2 different design firms working on it. It's just a product of methods and materials, and speculation of a decrease in cost of steel in the spring.
Any timeline on when you'd have this value engineering effort
I would
complete?
say within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I think that's all of the projects. I don't know if I
Yes.
missed one.
The
remind me.
buildings.
Oh, the admin building.
Yeah.
Tremendously over budget. We've doing some creative things to get more money into that one to make it happen. It's not as easy as just giving money from this next kind of emergency COVID funding, because it's at its project limit. So like, at the moment, the most amount of money we can put into that building is $450,000, and it needs $1.3 million. So we are working with the city and the CRC to help bridge the gap. The same way we're going to try to bridge the gap Historical Society with Code Regis has handed down an opinion on what can and does not count towards the project limit, and it was I would say 80% of the opinion was favorable to us, so we're now exploring that method concurrently with and that opinion was handed down on Monday. It's not easy to,
happy time right
it's
now.
not, this is, it's not all fun and shiny objects. This has been a lot of, I always said we'd never move at the speed of government, and here we are moving at the speed of government, but
Start off fast, John. There, Matt.
yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
Okay, so to clarify, to make sure everybody understands, the problem has been, part of the problem, or a big part of the problem, has been the loss of interest on our bond,
That was,
but
yeah, that was,
plus the cost of materials, basically, those two are the,
yeah, the interest, the anticipated interest earnings, which is what our accountants put together when you do a sizable bond. They say, well, you're going to have a little bit more money. Well, we got into, with COVID, got into negative interest rates, and we lost money. So there was $476,000 that we lost that we weren't anticipating, and that went across all projects. And then the cost of materials has killed us, just crushed us.
okay, thank
And
you.
every community in the state is dealing with that right now.
We had, the ITA conference was last week, and I was talking to some people that were doing construction, and it's a disaster for some of them.
Yeah. And it's really frustrating for me that the General Assembly wasted so much time on remote protocols when they should have been passing legislation to remove the upper limits of the bond issue, these project limits.
The lease rental?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Budget adoption meeting. Doug, it's an information.
October 12th is our adoption meeting.
Okay, I wanted it on record. All right. Any financial questions from the board? Paul?
No.
Matt? I don't have any. Board comments? Paul?
I've been involved with this Bear Creek project. That's the steering committee on that. That's going to be a pretty nice little park that the Parks Department's going to end up having and stuff, so look forward for that.
Was it 26 acres? 27?
Yes, 26 acres out there on Shelburne Road and 146th Street. It's going to be really nice.
Great.
That's nice to have something out in the northwest.
Yeah.
Anything else, Matt?
I'd like to put a fire station on that property,
Yeah, we've talked about that.
but no.
Oh. I don't think they heard you out there. Anything, Matt? Well, I just want to thank you for coming. I mean, this is what we need. We need to hear what you think. We know it's been tough times for everybody. And, you know, one at a time, we've had projects finish, and there have been some really happy times at the parks. And I've been involved in the ceremonies. And what means the most to me is to see the kids happy. So that's really neat. I also am concerned about our relationship with the Japanese. How are they doing?
They're doing all right. They're working on their own independent master plan, the kind of
Oh, I'm sure they are.
guide future improvements. So we're kind of giving them a blank slate, but we do think that we're going to be able to pick off a couple things in their master plan and go ahead and do for them.
Are they still working with their government? I know originally they were sending everything back and forth. They wanted to meet the specifications there.
Yes. So some of like the smaller things that accoutrements to the trails and stuff have all been approved by the authorities in Japan. You've met with them, they're pretty.
I know.
The tenacity is there, so they wouldn't let us skip a beat on that even if we tried.
And the Chinese are definitely out.
The mayor, the mayor has removed the Chinese from this park with the comments to them that they will do a Chinese, something to
Pavilion.
celebrate the Chinese somewhere else.
Right. We've had a lot of discussions about the park and who was involved in meetings all summer with the different groups, the Japanese and the Chinese, and trying to make it all go together. And it now is still the Japanese Guard. So I just thought I'd tell you about that so you'd know. Any announcements, Doug?
Just on Monday, this next Monday, the 27th, and I sent it to you folks also, is the unveiling of the Monon Greenway Center tunnel mural.
Oh,
So it starts at 4:30, all right? So anybody out there that wants to be there, starts at 4:30 on Monday.
hope it doesn't snow. It feels like that this morning. Anything else to come? May I have a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.